everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have my July book haul. So the first thing I want to say is I was doing very well in July. The last couple months I've been buying a lot of things, mostly related to Buffy. I am on a book buying ban, technically, and I started that 2-3 months ago, but one of the things that I was allowed to do to break my book buying ban was buying Buffy and Angel comics, because I recently started my Bewitched by Buffy series where I'm reading all of the Buffy and Angel comics that I can get my hands on. We've had 2 episodes so far, and I've been reading a lot of things that I have been purchasing. We finished watching a rewatch of Buffy and Angel, and I knew I had never really finished a lot of those comic things, and I really wanted to. So I have been buying those. This month in July though, I didn't really have any of that kind of stuff come in, so I was doing very well with only getting my pre-orders or book boxes until the end. I do have a box I need to unbox because I found out that there's more Buffy stuff, and I did buy some issues of comics, and so we will go through that. Before we get into that, because I don't remember how many are in that box currently, because I had to buy from a couple different sellers on eBay to get these issues of comics because they are out of print. They've been out of print for a while. I don't know how many we have today. Besides that though, I currently only have 8 books to haul, which is actually pretty good. Some are book box books, some are pre-orders, and we're gonna jump into those things first. So the first 3 books that we're going to talk about are from Allurial. I actually unboxed the July Allurial box earlier this month and showed you all 3 of the books. So that is something that you've already seen. We're going to go through these quickly. The first one we have here is one of their sequels. They have now been doing a thing where they send out an email for the people that are subscribed to Allurial to see if there is interest in sequels. Once the interest has reached a certain number of people, sort of like Kickstarter, you will then get charged at that time for the sequel. The sequel will not come out right away, so like I actually paid for this sequel back in like, I want to say March or April, but it came to us in July. It's going to be Eclipse of the Crowned by A.K. Caggiano. This is the 3rd book in the Villains and Virtues series. I now have the entire trilogy from Allurial. Have I read any of them? No, but this is going to be romantasy. I think everything from Allurial is basically romantasy. Here is that cover here. It's very shiny with the words, and we do get sprayed edges as well as special end papers in these books. So that was my first thing. Then my main book of July that I picked up is Dominion by Jean Kwok. I absolutely love this cover. I love what they did with this. The art is gorgeous. The original cover of this is gorgeous as well, but one thing I really like about Allurial is that you can choose if you like this enough to get the special edition, and I really did. So I did definitely get this one. Here's our edges and the end papers. And then the last one I picked up is The Mortal Trials by Megan Shinmugam. Again, very pretty. This one is, I think, the original cover. I don't know how much is different because it is very shiny and stuff, but like they didn't change the cover. Here are those edges for us and the end papers. So again, I did go into all of these books in that unboxing, and I'm very excited to have them. And just so you guys know, I have already skipped completely August's books from Allurial. None of them really seem to be up my alley, so we won't have those next month. Let's get to the rest of the pre-orders. The first one that I have here is Kiss, Marry, Kill by Kara Tanamachi. This one just sounds so intriguing to me. I actually have it as an ARC, an e-ARC from NetGalley as well, but I also had pre-ordered it during a Barnes & Noble pre-order sale. We are doing ARC August for this month, where I'm trying to catch up on my ARC reading, but I will be using a spinner wheel to help me pick my books for August. This has not come up yet, but I do have a physical copy. And this one says, true crime podcaster Ella Takeda is a sucker for a good mystery. She has an uncanny knack for pinpointing killers, until she gets it wrong. Turns out that identifying an innocent man as the canceled killer, a serial murderer who targets high-profile fraudsters, is cause for immediate backlash. Now she's returned to her small Midwest town, but the canceled killer may not be done with her yet. Ella has a terrible suspicion that she's his next target. And worse, she thinks she might be dating him. And it looks like there's 3 guys. So could it be Jude, the sexy, cheese-loving nerd her mom is convinced she's going to marry? Or Aaron, the hot Chicago detective who's the walking embodiment of every swipe right fantasy? And finally, there's Mateo, a Hollywood stunt double who's got all the right moves. So she has to figure out, I guess, which one is actually the killer out of these 3, and she's dating them all. Like, I needed this. Then the next one that I pre-ordered, Prince of Swords by Elise Kova. This is a very, very pretty edition. It's like gilded edges on here, swords embossed on the naked hardcover, as well as just like some really nice end papers. I like when they put a little extra in here. This is the standard edition of the book, by the way. This is the sequel to Arcana Academy. Did I read it yet? No. But it's very pretty for a standard edition of the book. I have read other things by Elise Kova that I have absolutely loved, things that were independently published, not traditionally published. And so I'm just at that point where I was like, I know I haven't read it yet. I need to. It's gonna have some sort of like college-aged, new adult, magical school type of thing. I really don't remember, but I did pick up book 2. And then I have a couple books that I didn't pre-order that technically maybe broke my book buying ban, but the first one is Into the Churn by Haley Reese Chow. This one I actually got for free because I signed up for my library's summer reading. I've also finished all the summer reading because it's like you had to read like 20 days out of the summer. I've definitely hit that. So eventually when we go back, I need to like go in and see what the rest of the stuff is, I guess the prizes, but we got a book just for signing up. Presley also got a book just for signing up. He also has hit all of his reading goals for the summer, so we need to go back. But this one is going to be a YA sci-fi. I didn't like any of the adult books that they had out there. They felt very literary fiction to me. But this is one that has been on my radar for a while, and it just sounded very intriguing. 17-year-old Ezrin Hart interns in her mother's terraforming lab, studying Bellathea's deadly storms with the dream of giving her backwater planet open teal skies. But when budget cuts threaten to shut down her mother's lab, Ezrin enters Bellathea's Race Royale, the system's deadliest and most lucrative race. To win, she'll have to run, drive, and fight her way across Bellathea's barren landscape while navigating its savage and volatile storms. From my understanding, this is going to have some romance in there as well. We have a guy named Foster Sterling who is still reeling from his partner's death in a training accident. Yeah, perfect for fans of underdog heroes, slow burn romance, and high stakes sci-fi. This is like Deadly Trials in a sci-fi setting. I had to get this. And then the last thing I have here before we actually get to the things that I need to unbox, this one does technically break my book buying ban. 100%. I picked up Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rites of Spring by Patrick Horvath. So this is the second series of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. There's one volume, I already have it, I read the whole thing. It's like Richard Scarry's Busy Town meets Dexter. Like, it's a little bit wild. But this is a sequel series. Like, it's sort of like the first one you can read as a standalone, perfect story. You do not need more, but there is more. And I was in my local comic store second to last week of July because Buffy from Dynamite was supposed to come out, but it didn't. It actually got pushed back to like end of August or beginning of September right now. So we're gonna have to wait on that. But it was like the second time I had been in my local comic store only solely asking about Buffy comics. And I didn't like the fact that I was going into an independent store and not buying anything after going in after so long. And I knew this one had come out like the day before because comics usually come out on Wednesdays, but books come out on Tuesdays. And so I got it. Today is the last day of July. I was planning on reading this before the end of the month, so it didn't feel as naughty as breaking my book buying ban and not reading the book, but I'm still in the middle of a novel that I wanted to try and finish this month too, so we'll see how that goes. But this is something that I could definitely finish quickly because I did not want to put down the last volume. Like, I needed to know what was going on so badly because it was crazy. So I picked it up. Okay, and then before we get into the Buffy comic unboxing that I know I have here and see exactly how many comics I actually have for the month of July, I also have an Evernight to unbox. So obviously this is the horror subscription from Illumicrate. I have been going back and forth on if I actually like some of these special editions that are coming out from Illumicrate. Not necessarily the horror ones, but I want to say I've been a little hit or miss with especially like the romance ones. I recently posted a video again talking about the different covers that we've seen from the different subscription boxes that Illumicrate has all year, and we came to the conclusion that, yeah, I definitely think I prefer some of the more traditionally published covers than not lately, but I'm still very curious about this one. So, because this is the Evernight, this is just a book in here. I do not have any of the artist information in front of me. I will put it linked down below for you in case you're curious, but there's no items in here. It is literally just the book. And the book already had a very interesting cover traditionally. So, interesting. Okay, I will show you in just a second. Let me take it out of the plastic. I think I like it, but I think it's a very different vibe than what I was expecting from like what the original cover looks like. Okay, so what we have is The Sea Hides Its Dead by Megan Bontrager. Okay, so the thing is, I think I do like this more matte background and just a glossy title. It has no color behind it whatsoever. Nothing to really make it stand out against the page except for the glossiness. And I think I actually really like that. The original cover, I will put it here, the one that I've seen, it's very blue. This is obviously not blue. I think we do still have the like eyes down here and going around. So I do still think that vibe is pretty much there. This is interesting. Okay, I think I like it. Here are our edges. I sound very confused about this. This is blue. This is like the blue that I would have been expecting, I think. But again, there are some of those like eyes and different things here. So I do think that works. Maybe, ooh, there's eyes on tentacles, and then there's skulls at the bottom. The vibes of this, I actually sort of like this. Ooh, okay, sorry, there's even more, Lately, I feel like the books have been really focusing on the edges here, but not the top and bottom as much. But look, it actually is like the boat at the top of the ocean, and then it goes down, and then it even goes down further. Okay, that I really enjoy. Let's go into more of this. Ooh. Okay, I like the vibes of this. This is very like mystery, somebody like looking for stuff, putting all their stuff together type of thing. This is obviously gonna be a horror, but I like the vibes of this as well. It has like water is purifying, known sea cults, like, oh, okay. Here is one of our end papers. Nothing too special about that, but like it's not bad. I think the vibe of it being very dark is good. And then our other side, interesting. Okay, I really like the difference of like this red, the flare. It's very vibrant compared to like the cover and the other end paper. Okay, and like I said, I've been hit or miss with some of these Illumicrate books. So what I've decided to do now is look at the book, first of all, to see if it's something that I'm interested in. And then if I am interested in it, look at who they have listed for specifically like cover artists compared to what I either like or don't like about the original cover. Because a lot of the books lately, I have actually been really liking the original cover to see if the art style could potentially be something that I'm interested in. Because unlike Allurial, where you get to see the cover first, you don't know what's going to show up when they eventually show up. I think I'm really enjoying this though. This does look like it might be an actual signature versus a digital signature. It's hard for me to tell. I can't say that with 100% certainty, but on all of the information online, it'll probably tell us if it's actually a digital signature or not, but it looks like a pen to me versus digital signature. Especially since they have the author letter in here with a digital signature at the bottom, and I feel like when they've been doing digital signatures from like their actual Illumicrate box, It's been on an author letter at the bottom. But yeah, the sea hides its dead. I think I really like this here. I like that it's harder to see the title because it's matte versus glossy. Okay, let's read a little bit into this so you guys know, because again, I don't remember. Occult aquatic horror. Okay. Your sins won't save you. Grad student Caro has no idea what she wants to do with her life, but when an opportunity arises to act as a research assistant on an anthropological expedition for her professor and lover, Edward Beck, she doesn't hesitate. Okay, professor and lover. Beck assembles a team of academics and professionals to study the ancient sea-based cult of the Leviathan, and the expedition descends into the sea caves where the cult is said to have dwelt. But when the cave entrance collapses, trapping them inside, the expedition will find they are not alone in the darkness. Surrounded by strange artifacts and scattered bones, an ancient trial has been set in motion. One by one, the members of the expedition will be tested and forced to atone for their greatest sin or die. Yeah, I got chills a little bit reading that summary. I'm very glad I picked this up. I actually do like this cover quite a bit, so I am a happy camper right now. Okay, and then like I said, I actually do have a box of comics that we need to get into, and I don't remember exactly how many are in this. I want to say there's at least one whole story arc. That might be like 8 comics plus some extras, but let's get into this and actually see how many things I need to put on my spreadsheet for this month, because I know I bought them. I know I did, but this is the only thing that's come in so far. The other things that I have are not going to come in until August, and so I just sort of assumed that everything was not going to actually be here until August, and so I was going to avoid opening them and having them in July so that it would have felt like July was better than it was. Okay, let's get into this. They are packaged very nicely, and they're all right in here. Okay, so they're in a bunch of plastic wrap, bubble wrap, tape. They're probably all in their comic sleeves as well, because every time that I've ordered anything off eBay for comics, they do come very nicely in their comic sleeves. So, okay, and in one more big bag. Like I said, these are all issues. I bought issues. The thing is, the stuff that I was looking for, it was very hard to find volumes. And I think even one of the things, I don't know if it's this one or a different one, it was like impossible to find a volume. Like they didn't have it in a volume at all. It was only issues. Everything else that I have though, it's more just the fact that these are out of print. And so it was very hard to find even the trade paperback versions. I think they must take into account how many issues are sold to see what the demand is for trade paperbacks, because there are a couple of the things that I got here that you could get in trade paperback, but they're out of print. They were very hard to find. So, okay, so I think the first thing that we're gonna go through is the Angel comics. These are Angel comics from Boom Studios, but not the Angel comics that I knew about in trade paperback form. This is a completely separate story that I think is supposed to be like an alternate reality where they're on a TV show maybe? I can't remember. But I found this when I was looking through some sort of like, what is the Angel and Buffy comic read order? And I have looked through these read order sites and Reddits and things so many times. I don't know how I missed this in the first place, because these are from Boom Studios. I have other Buffy comics from Boom Studios that are not part of the reboot, but I still have the Buffy comics and we're gonna read them. And so when I realized there was an 8-issue arc of Angel that is not part of the reboot, but I had never heard of this until like a few days ago. Like, how did I miss a whole 8-arc thing of Angel? I don't know. But so, I don't know much about this. It'll probably be one of the last things that we end up reading, just because of the fact that it's not part of a bigger story. It's sort of supposed to be an alternate reality. But I'm really loving these covers, so I needed them. This is all going to be by Christopher Cantwell as the writer, it looks like. So here is Angel, issue number 1. It looks like we have Angel, Cordelia, and Spike on there. Issue number 2. Issue number 3. Issue number 4 with some sort of like, I don't know, Black Ops or something. I have no idea who these characters are supposed to be because I cannot find any identifying information. Issue number 5 with obviously Spike in the middle. Issue number 6. Issue number 7. And issue number 8, again, I'm not going to look into these too much because I'm sure the covers are spoilers, but I see Angel and a werewolf and Spike and 2 women. One of them might be Fred, one might not. I have no idea, but so I did pick those up because how did I miss an entire Angel arc? I don't know. The other stuff that I have here are partial orders. Everything else that I have is going to be from these series. I just don't have them yet. But I started collecting Buffy, The Last Vampire Slayer. These are by Casey Gilly. And so the ones that I have to show you today are not the first part of it. There's like 2 and a bit parts of it. The first arc of this story has 4 issues. Then there is a special and this one, Buffy, The Last Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summer. Or it just says Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summer. But this is supposed to be in this world. So I grabbed that one. Then there's a second round of The Last Vampire Slayer that has 5 issues, and I think that one is also something that has never been in a trade paperback ever. The first round of 4 issues of The Last Vampire Slayer is in trade paperback. I cannot find it anywhere. Some of these things that I bought for Buffy, they have trade paperbacks and things, but they're like super expensive because they are out of print. Like some of these old IDW Angel things are like hundreds of dollars because they are so old and out of print, but you can find them. They're on eBay. The Last Vampire Slayer trade paperback of the first 4 issues, nowhere to be found. I can't find it. But so there's 5 issues in the second half. And so the ones in this area here, we have issue number 3 of The Last Vampire Slayer. Again, these should all still be by Casey Gilly. And I love the art on these ones as well. And then we also have issue number 4. So these ones are going to be in the second half of The Last Vampire Slayer. So again, these are things by Boom Studios. They are things that are alternate reality versions of Buffy. They are not things in the reboot or the canon things that we are going to be reading. We're reading canon stuff sooner rather than later. But yeah, I bought a bunch of issues. So that was 8 issues of Angel plus 3 more issues of Buffy. So that is 11 more things. I had 7 books plus 11 more. I'm gonna have to put them on here. Let me put those in really quick because then I'm gonna show you my stats. My stats were doing good. Let me put these in here and we'll see what happened. Okay, I added all my things in here. We're gonna put the stats in. I just wanna say right now that one of my stats changed quite a bit. The other one actually not so much. So let's go into the not so much one really quick first. So one thing that we've been tracking is percentage read of the things that I bought. And because I started buying a bunch of Buffy and Angel comics, this number went up, like the things that I bought went up and the percentage read went down. But since I started reading those Buffy and Angel comics this month, that number actually has gone up. So last month, and I wrote this down because I knew I wanted to talk about it, last month at the end of June, out of all of the things that I had bought this year, I had read 8 of them for about 8% of the total number of books bought being read. Because I had like 101 or something at the end of last month, about there. At the end of July, I have read 18 things, so I've read like 10 more things, and my percentage read is at 17%. Even after adding in all those 11 extra issues of comics, I am at 17%. We more than doubled what we needed to do. I'm hoping that continues because I have a lot more comics and things that we're going to be reading. But so I'm actually not mad at that. We did a good job. Now, the other thing we're doing is shelf reduction. I started the beginning of this year in 2026 on January 1st with 588 books on my TBR. A little bit too much. I was doing okay at the very beginning of the year, and then I started buying a bunch of Buffy and Angel things. I bought other things as well, and I was like, I need a book buying ban, but I was buying Buffy and Angel things. Now, at the end of July, this is where it got bad. I just added in 11 books to this total here. I will show you. So I read 13 books off of my owned TBR. Those are things from prior to this year and that I bought this year. That's the best I've done this year so far. I have now added in 19 things for this month because I had to add in 11 books to this total. I did not have any unhauled books that I just unhauled unread this month, for a new total of 663. My month-to-month total is 6 new books compared to last month, and for the year total, it's 75 new books compared to January 1st of this year. The thing is, if these issues wouldn't have come in prior to August, or if I would have been able to get them as a volume instead of individual issues, I actually was at -5 for my month-to-month. Month-to-month, not for the whole year, but -5. I actually had gone down 5 books from my total from end of June to end of July, but then I just put in 11 books, so now I'm up 6. Okay. That is not going to happen next month, right? I'm talking to myself right now, I guess more than you guys, but like seriously, I had a negative number there. That is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those negative numbers. We're halfway through this year now. We've been halfway through this year. Today, we're on the second half. But like, I've only had 1 month with a negative number. I need more of those. I need more negative numbers. So, if those issues wouldn't have come in today, we would have been sitting pretty. They did though. They did. So, I'm just gonna have to read as much as I can next month because, yeah. Okay. That is going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My hauls are not supposed to be this big, and ultimately before those comics, it wasn't horrible, right? Like I feel like that is normal for me. Actually better for me than normal. But then I have the issues and that just adds it all in. Okay, we're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. Bewitched by Buffy is coming out on Tuesdays right now, and I still have videos coming out on Thursdays and Saturdays as well, so I hope to see you then. Bye!